Well, Ontario is enduring a stay-at-home order. Starting today, this is our first day of potentially 28 days. It will definitely be 28 days. Possibly more, I don't know, because Toronto has really phone. Let's try this again. So Toronto itself has been in lockdown since November something. I don't remember exactly what day it was. To December 21st it was supposed to be, and then it was extended to January. But now the entire province is having a stay-at-home order for 28 days starting today. And it's January 14th today. So yeah, really, because Toronto's been in lockdown for so long already, not a whole lot is changing for us, other than if we're outside for a not good reason, we can be fined and or put in jail, which I don't want to be put in jail and I don't have money to pay a fine, so I'm just kind of staying in. I go in 1 day a week still. I can still go outside to exercise. And we can have outdoor gatherings with up to 5 people. But it's kind of cold outside, and we are expecting a polar vortex to come in like at the end of this week or over the weekend. So it's going to be like minus 20 degrees Celsius outside. Not very conducive to outdoor gatherings. So anyway, yeah, that's just how things are going. 2021 is not going to be a whole lot different than 2020, I think. But I did manage to get out last weekend. If you saw that video, snowshoeing adventure in QE2 Wildlands, I'll put the link in the description below. And here I am about to show you my recipe for dehydrated beef stroganoff, which turned out amazing. I was actually quite impressed with myself. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please hit the thumbs up, comment below and let me know what you think about the recipe. If you are a backpacker, let me know if you think this is a good looking recipe. And if you hit the like button and you comment, it really helps me out with my channel, because then it helps the YouTube algorithm know that people are watching my videos and they actually like them. Today I'm going to make another backpacking recipe and have it for dinner as well. So I'm going to make half of it, or I'm going to make the whole thing and have half of it for dinner tonight, and dehydrate the other half and eat it when I go out hiking or backpacking, which I might be able to get out on an adventure this weekend and actually get to try it out in the field. How awesome would that be? So here we go. I'm going to make my stroganoff recipe. After I was diagnosed with celiac disease, believe it or not, I actually missed hamburger helper beef stroganoff. So I came up with my own recipe. It's still really easy to make, still pretty inexpensive to make. And I'm hoping that it will be a good backpacking meal too. So what I'm doing first is I am going to brown the ground beef in the pan, and then I'm going to, because I'm dehydrating this, I'm going to have to drain off and rinse off the beef fat so that when I dehydrate it, it doesn't go rancid, because you don't want to get food poisoning while you're out in the middle of nowhere, not very close to a hospital. That would not be at all fun. So when you're making ground beef that you're going to dehydrate, you have to make sure to break it up into fairly small pieces, because then it'll be easier for it to dehydrate, and make sure that the whole thing will dry right through and not be not still be holding on to any moisture in the middle of it. So as you're browning, you have to make sure to just every now and again get into the pan and break up some more of those pieces. So I'm going to brown this up, and I'm going to chop up some vegetables, and I'll come back in just a minute. Okay, so I've chopped up some onion and 3 cloves of garlic. This is half of a rather large red onion. I didn't need the whole thing, so I just used half, but if you have a smaller onion, you can put that in. So half of a red onion and 3 cloves of garlic. They're rather large cloves. If you have a yellow onion, that's probably fine too. I just like the red ones because they're pretty. So I'm going to stir that in, and once the beef is totally browned and the onions are translucent, then I'm going to take it off the heat and rinse off the fat. Okay, let's take this off the heat now. Just turn that off temporarily. And then I'm going to try to one-handed put this into a strainer in the sink to rinse off the fats. So let's see if I can. I don't know if you're gonna see this. So I'll just put it into like a wire strainer like this. And I'm gonna grab my spoon. Okay, so now plumbers everywhere are going to have a heart attack because yes, I'm going to rinse this in the sink. Okay, so it's running pretty clear now. I'll just put it back in the pan. Oops, somebody got away. Run away, run away. Pour it back in the pan. Now, normally if you were making just some plain ground beef to dehydrate for backpacking, then now you could just wait for it to cool and then put it on the dehydrator tray. But because I'm making a whole recipe rather than just dehydrated beef, I'm going to continue on and add in all the other ingredients. Okay, so I've got some cremini mushrooms here that I'm going to put in now, and I've sliced them all as thin as I could get them without them, you know, kind of crumbling. And you want them to be as uniform as possible because you're going to dehydrate this. Now, normally I don't make this recipe for the dehydrator. The last backpacking trip that I went on, if you saw that video, I did make this, but I dehydrated the ingredients individually. So I didn't quite like how that turned out. Mostly because I forgot the flavor, like the seasoning packet that I had set aside for it, and I forgot that. So all I had basically was plain ground beef, mushrooms, and zucchini noodles. So now I just gave away the next step. Zucchini noodles. So I'm gonna let that get in there. And here's the fun part. You take 1 zucchini and a spiralizer. This is just a hand spiralizer. I believe it or not, I got this at Staples, which is a office supply store. Why they have a spiralizer, I don't know. So then I just make the noodles, put them in there like that. So I do up pretty much the whole zucchini for noodles. So then the zucchini noodles, of course, are standing in for the usual egg noodles or gluten-based noodles that would be in a regular stroganoff. So I came up with this recipe, as I mentioned, after I was diagnosed and I was craving Hamburger Helper beef stroganoff. Yeah, so let me finish this up and I'll bring you back in just a minute. Okay, so there's the zucchini noodles in there, and you can just chop them up because these are going to be very, very long, each of them. So it's kind of tricky to eat. So while you're eating it, you want to be able to not slop it all over the front of yourself. Now, I also wanted to mention that this recipe has actually been published. I have a published recipe. I actually have 4 published recipes. This one here was published in this book, Your Canadian Food Story. I get no proceeds from the sale of this book. I just get some notoriety because here's my recipe on page 169 with the little story that goes along with it. So if you're interested in this recipe, I'll post it in the description, but it's also in this book, which is a pretty interesting book. It's stories from contributors all across the country with some traditional foods, Canadian traditional foods, ethnic traditional foods. Canada is a very multicultural country. So yeah, have a look. Google for this book, Your Canadian Food Story, and the person who compiled it was Loretta Friedrich. Okay, so the last ingredient will be some coconut milk. I just want the mushrooms to soften a little bit more before I do that, and I should probably add some salt in here. So I'm gonna let the mushrooms cook up for a little bit, and then I'll bring you back in when I put the coconut milk. Okay, so the mushrooms are getting nice and soft there, and the zucchini. So I'm just going to add some coconut milk. And on top, this is quite a thick coconut milk that I have this time, but it should soften up. This recipe is not just for, people with celiac disease. It's for anybody. It's a nutritious meal, and it's paleo. It is autoimmune protocol friendly. And honestly, I just wanted to put up a recipe that would change my algorithm on YouTube, because after I posted my ginger cookies with gluten-free vegan, I had a whole bunch of recommended vegan cookery channels come up on my recommendations, and I'm not vegan. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm really not entirely interested in vegan recipes. I am a meat eater. So just get the coconut milk in there, and see, it just immediately almost disappears. So if you're avoiding dairy and gluten, this is a great recipe if you still like to have stroganoff, because it's very tasty, and it's good for you. Got lots of vegetables and nutrients in it. So there we are. We have beef stroganoff. Now all I need to do is serve some up for myself for dinner tonight, and then wait for it to cool, the rest of it, so that I can put it in the dehydrator and take it on my adventure this weekend. Lens cap. Okay, just putting this in, getting ready to go to bed. Gonna put this into the dehydrator, and then hopefully by morning it will be a dehydrated backpacker meal. So hopefully, if I get to go on my adventure, then I will actually put that at the end of this video. Show me making it out in the field, so to speak.
Yeah.
Whew, this smells yummy. It's almost done. Got my beef stroganoff here. Let's see.
Yeah, it's 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think we should be just in time if we start in another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
No. We can leave at 3. Yeah.
This is really good. Nice and hot.
It would be all you could see. Right.
Very, very good.
That's true.
Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you like this recipe, and if you want to see some more recipes, comment below and let me know. Thanks.